Hello and welcome to Shoreline Music Monthly. My name is Mark Koschwitz. This is episode 58 of our show bringing you the best entertainment on the shoreline. Tonight, I'm very pleased to have in the studio with me a gentleman, very talented gentleman. I actually had the pleasure of attending his induction in the Blues Hall of Fame at Black Eyed Sally's earlier this year. I have with me tonight Tom the Suit Forst.
Hey, Mark.
How are you?
Great. I'm glad to be here, man.
I'm glad to have you here. So you I guess would get probably the longest commute, although you've been back a little while. But actually here from China.
Yeah, I was in China on tour for 3 weeks. I just got back on Monday.
So appreciate you getting jet lagged through that and making your way to see us.
I'm still jet lagged, actually.
I could imagine. We're going to talk about a little bit maybe about your China trip in a little bit, but I know we've got another gentleman came along with you to provide a little accompaniment.
Right. A lot of times in studio, a lot of what I do is rock blues or blues rock. So sometimes I'll bring an accompanist with me just to make sure that you kind of get the flavor of what my albums are like. And Vincent Brike, keyboardist extraordinaire, will be accompanying me today.
Very nice.
Great guy.
Yeah, he's got some big stack of equipment over there.
Oh, he does. He does. He uses it all too. That's amazing.
That's so now you mentioned your album. So we've got this one here, On Fire.
Right. This is my last album. I have 5. This is my last one. This was produced by Grammy winner Paul Nelson,
who also throws a little slide around on there.
Oh yeah. I mean, he is one of the best slide players you will hear. In fact, that was take 2. He just did 2 takes. He picked up this old Chinese guitar that was hanging in the thing, and he just went to town on it and really didn't even think about it. It's a great piece if people want to hear it. Just so they know, Paul was the guitarist as well for the Johnny Winter Band, and he produced Johnny Winter's last several albums before Johnny died.
Wow, so that's some heavy hitter there.
Heavy hitters, yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I mentioned your induction in the Blues Hall of Fame.
Right.
That was a pretty cool night. Black Eyed Sally's.
Right.
I believe that was, I think, the first time I ever saw you play live. That's a neat venue to have. I love that place.
Yeah, it's one of the best. It really is one of the best venues in the state.
You know, especially they focus on the blues and that blues rock kind of thing. It's a very nice to have a venue that kind of stays true to that as well.
And they have, good sound, good drinks.
Sometimes I remember the song is a king. I slow it down and I bend the string that may play best, blowing down the door, going up and down that neck. everything. If you can't play slow, just like the king. Hey! I've seen the king break the guitar neck out there while making love. He'd go up and down her body, swear she'd had enough. Then he'd bend the strings, he would make her scream. But nobody plays that song with soul like the king. Rather everything. If you can't play slow, just like the king. Hey! King. King.
Well, I saw that you started playing about the age of 8.
Right. I know people always ask me this, and I have no problem telling them I'm 67 years old. So I've been playing for approximately 60 years. Yep.
That's a long
I'm waiting to
time.
get it right.
And so as often happens, you start young, you find a love of music, play through the young adult, but then now, was there a break? I know that you had a couple of other jobs in between that may not have left you time for gigging.
A major break, actually. And funny thing is, when I started at 8, I loved it for about a week. And then it got hard. My fingers hurt. I once
isn't that?
you know, because you play. It's terrible. I hated it for the next 5 years. And then my parents wouldn't let me quit. That was the deal.
Really?
Yeah. When you just started something, you finished it. That was at our house. Even then, I figured I could get women if I had, guitar. My brother played accordion, did not work out so well for him.
I play accordion now.
No, then you know.
Maybe that's my problem.
Then you know, man. Sorry about that. Yeah. So then I went to college. I played all the way through from. I got into clubs at 15. I just lied about my age. So I went from 15 all the way to college. Graduated college.
Back then, drinking ages was younger. I mean,
yeah.
Things were a little more, freewheeling.
They were free. It was a wild west, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of. It's probably hard for someone who's young now to imagine, especially with the drinking age at 21 and trying to imagine how that would fly. But back
I was
then,
playing strip clubs. Honestly, I was. It's just,
at 15.
Well, probably not at 15.
Right.
Probably like 17, but I remember it. So I graduated college, and a week after, I went on a road with a band and did the road trip for a while. Came back off and decided I wanted to start a family, and I became a school teacher, first and second grade school teacher. I played all the way through that, And then I realized you couldn't make any money as a school teacher. In those days, you were making $7,000 a year.
Yeah, it's tough. They still don't really want to pay them, but
yeah, now it's more fair, but then it was not fair. It was below welfare. Anyway, so I did that for a while, about 5-6 years, and then I got into the corporate world, into television advertising. I was going to do that for about a year. Fast forward, that was 25 years. And for 10 of those years, I never touched a guitar. Not once. Didn't look at it, didn't pick it up, didn't think about it, didn't want to play it. Busy and disillusioned.
Oh, okay.
Almost, it's like an old lover, you know. It'd be better not to see that old lover. So I didn't do it. But the funny thing is, and this was amazing to me, all that time, I'm a melody player, so in my mind, all these combinations of notes constantly are rearranging themselves. And for 10 years, this is true, I actually worked on melodies and didn't even know it. Because when I picked up the guitar after 10 years, I was a completely different player.
Wow.
I mean, it astounded me. It was as if somebody else took over my body. I was playing things I'd never ever thought of before.
And you know, the thing about taking 10 years off is that the fingers still hurt again.
Oh, they hurt. They did hurt, but
But you knew you'd get through it then.
Exactly right, yeah. And that's what I did. So, and then 10 years ago, actually almost to today, I quit. I quit the corporate world because I knew I was going to go back into music. So this is coming up on my 10th year anniversary.
Wow, it's a big leap to step away.
Wasn't so big for me. My wife was not particularly thrilled about the lifestyle change. Going from the corporate, executive world to this is quite different.
Yes,
for a lot of reasons. I travel. I certainly don't make the money I made in the corporate world.
And that's where the suit came from, right?
Exactly right. I actually I play a lot in New York City, and I was with a punk band, if you can believe this, and I dressed in my normal suit, and the audience was all in their 20s, and when I got done playing, they all started screaming "suit." And my son, who was there, said, "Well, that's your name. That's your new name, Suit."
Stuck.
That's when it stuck, yeah.
I was walking through the woods, trying to find some destination. Unmarked trail and winding road, when I heard a distant strumming, or was that my imagination? Then I saw a man in a black robe. He was a man of the mountain, straggly hair and dirty beard, knowing look in his one eye. He said, "Boy, you sure look lost. Why not sit a spell with me?" Then he told me all about my life. He said, "You're going home, going home. Someday you're going back where you come from. You're going home, same way you're going back where you belong." He said, "I sold all that I owned, and I moved into these hills. Now I live from day to day. You can lose your very soul, while gathering up your gold. Still gonna end up in the same place. Said, you're going home, going home. Someday you're going back where you come from. You're going home, going home. Same way you're going back where you belong. You're going home. You're going back when he says come.
Now, musically, I mean, you've played so many years. You know, when you started, I mean, obviously the beginning it's different, but I mean, was it always kind of that bluesy music that you played, or was there different genres along the decades here? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question actually, because you've seen me play, so you kind of know I'm all over the map. Mm-hmm. I consider myself a blues guy, but you know, in the '60s, when you were growing up in the '60s, on the same AM and FM stations, which is all you had, you were listening to folk, psychedelic, Motown,
fusion,
funk, right? Yeah, fusion, and it was, in your mind, it was all the same.
Music.
And nobody said, "Oh man, I like folk." You know, everybody just said, "Hey, did you hear that new?" It was a wonderful time to be alive.
Absolutely.
For music. Yeah. And that's so, it's hard for me to say what I am, but if you are a student of music and you took my music apart, the scales that I play are bass bound, are blues bound.
Right,
absolutely.
At least it informs everything that you do. And,
exactly.
And then you just take it in different directions, because
I take it wherever it goes.
Yeah.
Music to me is, I've been asked this too, I was asked this in China. I don't play music because I want to. I play it because I have to. Music to me is playing the guitar, I'll say, not just music, is a religion. And the religious experience for me is that millisecond while I'm playing where all the stars align. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds a little off there.
Anyone who plays has felt similar, you know, that connection with the rest of the people in your band at that moment, or, you know, when everything just meshes. It's a pretty amazing feeling.
And I'm glad you said that too, because I do solo stuff as well as the band, but I don't really enjoy it, because to me music is the interplay of musicians, of minds that, you know, all of a sudden somebody hits the right note that's just perfect with your note, and it really is. It can be a 4-hour span of time. Now I don't do 4 hours, but let's say 2 hour span of time. And it could be just like that, and that's enough. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about China.
China was amazing. I had a 3-week tour. We started off in Beijing. I ended up in Shanghai. Not being Shanghai. Yeah. I know. I've heard that one before. I played every night except for one. So it was get up, you know, and I had a tour manager, thank God, who spoke Chinese and English.
Made sure
God.
You got to the right places.
Yeah.
And met the right people.
Oh my God, because not everyone speaks English.
Right.
It's not like if you go to Europe and it's the language of money. Honestly, they don't care. So I'd get up at, sometimes I was up at 5 o'clock, rushing to grab a train or a plane. I had 10 plane flights over the 3 weeks.
Wow.
The ninth one got me, I have to say. Blew my eardrums.
Wow.
I just got my hearing back on Saturday morning.
And then you mentioned earlier it's like 13 hours back, right? I mean,
13 hours difference, yep. Yeah, and so it's easy getting there. Getting back, it is a killer.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, as a musician, if you live for audience, which I do, there was nothing like it. I'd show up at a show, and the venues I played, since this is my first time on tour, were relatively small, but larger than a lot of them in the United States. Probably 100 to 400 or 500 seating. And boy, these people were all about the music.
All right, so you mentioned you're recording another album now, or do we start the process of recording, or are you building toward recording?
I've been working on songs for the last, I'm going to say, year. So because once you're done with one, you start another one.
Yeah.
I went into this. I've been in the studio several times now, not at home studio, a real recording studio, with the musicians. We've rehearsed. What I'm doing is I'm going in 3 or 4 at a time. So we're doing it live in studio, which is a little different than, Dave Stoltz is my bass player, a very famous bass player. In the old thing, I could call him up and say, "Come on in, Dave," and I've already got the thing recorded. Just lay your bass, down. I'm not doing that.
Doing the music live and then just vocals over.
Yes, yeah, I do what they call a dead track. I do a track so they can hear the arrangement, and then we take that out, put a real vocal in later. But for all intents and purposes, it's live. And there's an electricity and magic and dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I told these guys that we're going to do it live. And I'm using my own band.
So too early to have a release date, but we were shooting for 2019 release?
Yeah, it has to be done by first quarter of 19, because I have to have those songs ready for the next tour.
Oh, heading to China.
Yeah, and I'm not just looking at China. I'm looking at Europe and the U.S. Festivals across the U.S. So yeah, I have to have some new music, and it's going to be blues basically.
And then go in whatever direction it takes you.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I have to say unfortunately because there will be people out there who will say, "Yeah, I don't think that's a blues song." So
the heck with them.
So be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got better words than that, but
not for here.
Not on all right.
Late at night, you're all alone. You put on your robe and you pick up the phone. You burn, baby, burn. But your man's not home. I come running fast as I can. I'm your consolation man. Not the first, won't be the last. Don't talk about our future. Don't ask about your past. We burn, baby, burn. Down your bedroom eyes. I come running fast as I can. I'm your consolation man. I am. I'm your consolation man. Sometimes the worry, not your first choice. Then the phone rings, and I hear your voice. We burn, baby, burn. Down that telephone line. I come running, fast as I can. I'm your consolation man. Oh yeah, I come running, know that I am. I'm your consolation man.
Thank you once again for watching Shoreline Music Monthly. Remember, all these artists are out there every weekend performing right in your neighborhood. Get out there and see them, please. Support your local music scene. It's the only one you've got. We'll see you next month.